Welcome to MetaPhy. Welcome. Happy Tuesday, or happy, what day is it? It's Thursday. I tell you, I can't even keep track anymore. You know, every day, it's November 16th, Thursday. Heading into that holiday season next week. I'm pretty excited about it. All my kids are going to be here on Sundays when we're doing our Thanksgiving. I'm excited about it. I can't help it. It's my favorite time. They'll all be here, all but one. But that's okay, because during Yule, they'll all be here. So how are we doing? Have we said our affirmations today? I did. I said my affirmations today. I have so much to talk about today on the desktop. Some stuff is really good, some stuff's really interesting, and some stuff's just going to blow your mind. So I suppose let's get to it. Let's start off with our little Miss Taylor. Little Miss Taylor Swift, all over the interwebs, being accused of practicing witchcraft on stage. Yes, this is a November 13th article. Megastar Taylor Swift said she's now never beating the sorcery allegations while sharing an incredible video of an airplane darting across the sky while perfectly accompanying her lyrics during a concert in Argentina, fending off sorcery and witchcraft rumors for the past several weeks. And you know what now I have to admit, I've not sit and watched her movies. I've never been to a concert. I've only seen the bits and clips and pieces, that they show on the news and whatnot. But apparently, the superstar appeared to respond to sorcery allegations in a post on X, formerly known as Twitter. And that's getting annoying as fuck. But I digress. Where Swift shared a jaw-dropping video from her Saturday Eras tour stop in Buenos Aires, Argentina. In the 25-second clip, Swift is singing Labyrinth off her 2022 album Midnights. The serendipitous moment as Swift sings the lyrics, "I thought the plane was going down, how'd you turn it right around?" The camera pans to the sky right as a plane soars directly above the venue. That pretty much sealed the deal on Taylor being a witch. However, where did this start? I mean, you don't just pop up and start saying people are witches. Well, Candace Taylor, Republican makes bizarre act. Now, this is from October. Republican Candace Taylor makes bizarre accusations against Taylor Swift. I mean, for real. Candace, there she is with her red lipstick. She's a host to Jesus. Taylor Swift has been accused of some strange things during her career, such as sneaking around in a popcorn stand and destroying the lives of famous ex-boyfriends. Now the pop star can add witchcraft to the list. Taylor says, and this is the statement. This is the statement that got that Republican's ass cramped, okay? Taylor was being interviewed, and she says, "I've been watching videos of you guys in theaters dancing and prancing and recreating choreography. and creating inside jokes, casting spells, and getting engaged, and just generally creating the exact type of joyful chaos we're known for. However, the former fan took issue with that caption, taking X social network formerly known as Twitter to voice her dissent. Did you really just praise your fans for making videos with your music and casting spells? What is wrong with you? I was a fan from day one and loved how much you grew in your singing ability. I love that you write your own music. I love that you write your own music. My daughter has grown up dancing with me to your songs, singing to the top of our lungs, and attending your concerts. I have heard from others that attended this last tour that you had some satanic nods in your show. I didn't want to believe it. After all, I knew you've claimed to love Jesus. I know you claim to be a Christian. Now, you've not only drifted and backslide, you're celebrating witchcraft. You're influencing innocent minds to be enticed with the dark side of spirituality. The word of God that you once confessed is clear. It is better to tie a milestone around your neck than to let one of the children fall. I am so beyond disappointed. I am literally shaking my head. I pray that you repent. I pray that something pricks your heart. You have been gifted a huge platform. It didn't just happen. God breathed on this. He can remove his hands and leave you to your witchcraft and your own devices. Let's see how much Lucifer cares about you or your career. I promise he doesn't. I can't. I literally cannot. So that's little Miss Candace Taylor, Republican. That's a. I don't. She's a Republican Georgia governor candidate who describes herself as Christian. So, all you Georgia peaches out there, Candace Taylor, yeah, make sure you don't vote for that twat rocket, okay? Man freaked out after finding bizarre skull on house's roof. Witchcraft. This is an October 30th article out of Newsweek. So, this happened in a little commune of Thiers near Perpignan in southwestern France. His name is Horia. Horia is still at a loss to explain what he found that day. He discovered it because I discovered it because my cat had a fight and his collar fell off right there, he said. See, the collar fell off. Look at that. Look at that. Craziness. Nestled in a space on the roof tiles sat a cage containing 2 pieces of an animal skull. Its long bone structure suggested it may once have belonged to a horse or a bovine animal. Horia could not explain why it was there, although he said one thought immediately came to mind. Witchcraft! And that is not entirely out of the realm of possibilities. A 2022 study published in the scientific journal identified 140,000 people from 95 countries and territories who held witchcraft beliefs. It's little wonder that Horia immediately assumed the dark arts were at play. I freaked out, he said. I told my family we all had no idea what it was at first and thought it was witchcraft. They may have been left out to be picked clean for bugs and stuff prior to being used as art or something. I know that's what I do. I'll bury my bones in the ground, okay? And let them sit for about a year, and then I'll dig the bones up, and then I'll lay them out like either on a car, like we've got a broke down car, somewhere that doesn't move, on top of the shed, on top of one of the cages, to let the sun do its thing and bleach them out. That's how I do mine. So chances are that's what was happening. I worked at a weird old guy's house, asked what's with all the flies in 5-gallon buckets, all deer and roadkill skulls and bones, rearticulated them for display. Everyone's got some kind of weird hobby. So that's probably what it was. It probably isn't witchcraft. Oh, Mr. Greg Locke, pro-Trump pastor, this has happened on the 17th of October, announces a huge occult burning for Halloween. I think we saw a couple of these on Witch Talk or on TikTok. A pastor who is a supporter of former President Donald Trump has advertised an occult burning event on Halloween at his church in Tennessee. In an Instagram post, Greg Locke, who runs the Global Vision Bible Church in Mount Juliet near Nashville, promised, "We will once again be burning all things related to witchcraft and the occult. Ask the Lord to show you what's in your home that needs to be removed. I can assure you there are some items that must go." Oh, there he is. He's kind of looking a little ragged. Mr. Locke. He's looking a little ragged. Fighting the good fight and all, it's taking its toll on Mr. Locke. Yeah. It's not the first time Locke, a non-denominational evangelical Christian, has railed against the apparent forces of witchcraft in the United States. In December of last year, he claimed he had to increase the security of his home. Really? After his family was publicly threatened with death by a witchcraft practicing psycho. Many on social media derided his recent post, with one user aptly named Friend of Satan responding, "I cannot believe, with all the access to information we have today, that there are people that still believe in fairy tales." However, some supported the occult burning. "I took my witchcraft, conjuring, and ceremonial magic books to Greg to burn them in 2020. Definitely a freeing and chain-breaking experience. Anyone that denies witchcraft is laughed at by actual witches." I'm sorry. Am I laughing out loud? Witchcraft is all around us, and only foolish people who refuse the truth would deny that. While now adopted by popular culture, Halloween, a truncation of Hallows Evening, originally marked the night before the Christian holiday of All Saints' Day, dedicated to remembering the dead, but it's thought to have influenced by a pre-existing pagan festival falling around the same time. The iconography of the jack-o'-lantern was traditionally supposed to ward off evil spirits, for the same reason gargoyles were used and placed on buildings. Recently, Locke claimed that the current war, okay, here we go, the current war between Israel and Hamas could bring about the coming of Jesus Christ. Some evangelical Christians have long believed that the return of the Jews to the land of Israel would help bring about the reemergence of the Messiah. Oh, there he is. He's looking a little better there. Look at that. Children's mass deliverance. Lord. Oh my gosh. Boston had witch trials. We all know that. But there's a group who wants justice for those accused across Massachusetts. This was an October 31st article. In 1648, Margaret Jones, a midwife, became the first person in Massachusetts, the second in New England, to be executed for witchcraft. Decades before the infamous Salem witch trials. Nearly 4 centuries later, the state and region are still working to come to grips with the scope of the witch trial legacy. The Massachusetts Witch Hunt Justice Project, made up of history buffs and descendants, is hoping to persuade the state to take a fuller reckoning of its earlier history, according to Josh Hutchison, the group's leader. Hundreds of individuals were accused of witchcraft in what would become the Commonwealth of Massachusetts between 1638 and 1693. Most of them escaped execution. It's important, Hutchison says, that we correct the injustices of the past. We'd like an apology for all the accused or indicted or arrested. For now, the group has been collecting signatures for a petition, but hopes to take their case to the State House. Among those accused of witchcraft in Boston was Anne Hibbins, sister-in-law to Massachusetts Governor Richard Bellingham. She was executed in 1656. A character based on Hibbins would later appear in Nathaniel Hawthorne's Scarlet Letter, published in 1850. Another accused witch, known as Goodwife Anne Glover or Goody Glover, was hanged in the city in 1688. A plaque has been dedicated to her and is located in front of the Catholic Church in the city's North End neighborhood, describing her as the first Catholic martyr in Massachusetts. You know, I've always said the Catholics were among the first Christian witches. It's one of the few physical reminders of the city's witch history, and there's a picture of that plaque. The Witch Justice Group held successfully spearheaded a similar effort in Connecticut, home of the first person executed for witchcraft in the American colonies in 1647, Alcee Young. The last witchcraft trial in Connecticut happened in 1697 and ended with the charges being dismissed. So, still fighting the good fight. And I might want to say, I didn't do this with the last episode, but I'm going to give you the links to all of these articles so you can look them up yourself and read them. But interesting. In 1957, the state legislature issued a kind of apology for Anne Perdita and others who were indicted, tried, found guilty, sentenced to death, and executed in 1692 for witchcraft. The resolution declared the Salem trials as shocking and the result of a wave of popular hysterical fear of devil in the community. Satanic panic. We went through it again in the 80s. I remember the satanic panic of the 80s. Some say we're getting ready to go through another one. It's just kind of bizarre, though. In 2017, Salem unveiled a memorial for the victims. In the ceremony came 325 years to the day when Sarah Good, Elizabeth Howe, Suzanne Martin, Rebecca Nurse, Sarah Wilds were hanged at a site in Salem known as Proctor's Ledge. In 2022, the lawmakers exonerated Elizabeth Johnson Jr., clearing her name 329 years after she was convicted of witchcraft in 1693 and sentenced to death at the height of the Salem witch trials. Other states have worked to confront similar histories. Good to see this happening. Now, while this is happening here in the United States, I want to tell you something. You've got the Wiccans to thank for this kind of a movement and for the fact that you can get on TikTok and talk about your witchcraft. You can get on YouTube and talk about your witchcraft. because let me show you what is happening in other parts of the world. This is India. It is 2023. Branded as witches, women are still being tortured and killed in Bihar. India reported 663 murders attributed to witch hunts between the year 2015 and 2021. This comes to an average of 95 witch hunt / witchcraft related deaths every year. 95 witchcraft related deaths every year. Bihar was the first state to enact a law against this practice with a punishment of up to 6 months in jail, or 2,000. It's not dollars. I have no idea what the currency is in India. Still, women continue to be hunted down as witches. And this is here. This is 2023. Supal, Bihar. She had just finished cooking and was going to call her husband and son to dinner when a gang of men barged into her house. They pulled my sari, tied my hands up, and forced feces into my mouth, screaming foul words at me, calling me Dayan, which is witch. The inhabitant of Dinapate Panchayat in Supal district told Gyan Connection. One of the men in the group kept saying that I had cast a spell on his family members, while other men kept beating me. She broke down as she recounted the horrific experience that happened on the night of April 19th, last month, in Bihar. They came in with rods and assaulted my mother in unspeakable ways, her son said. Fortunately, some fellow villagers came to her rescue, and she was not killed. Statewide witchcraft-related murder cases from 2015 to 2021, 663 murders. India is not the only place. In Tanzania, arrest 23 over killing of 7 witches. Tanzania police have charged 23 people with murder after 7 villagers were burned alive on suspicion of witchcraft. Though the attacks of Murfiti, a village in western Kigoma region, happened on Monday, reports only surfaced with the arrests. 5 of those killed were aged over 60, and the other 2 were over 40. Tanzanian human rights group estimated that 500 suspected witches are killed in Tanzania annually. 500 annually. Suspects were arraigned in court on Friday and accused of murder. They remain in custody. The son of one of the victims, Josephat John, told Tanzania Mwananchi newspaper, "When I returned home in the evening, I found the body of my mother lying 10 meters away from our house, while the body of my father was burnt inside the house. Men and women have run away from the village. Even children are not there. Everyone was scared of that event, and others feared police search." Belief in witchcraft is prevalent in many parts of Tanzania. Between 2005 and 2011, reports say around 3,000 people were killed after being accused of being witches. Several of the victims were old women, but witch doctors, village healers who are sometimes involved in the witch hunts, after also targeted young children and albinos, and later because their body parts are thought to bring prosperity. Tanzania. So count your blessings, witches, as you get on TikTok and go at each other's throats like a bunch of fucking twats. You're blessed to be able to do so. That's all I have to say to you. Let's talk about my favorite subject. Does quantum physics confirm the occult? The scientific innovations of past century made occultism obsolete. as it reaches the has both science as it reaches the public mind has both served to discredit and unintentionally reaffirm mystical ideas. During the Age of Enlightenment, certain people that were interested in astrology, divination, alchemy, mesmerism were forced out of the royal courts and mainstream universities. This light shone throughout Europe, and people were interested in Newtonian mechanics. Never mind the fact that Newton himself also had a lifelong interest in alchemy. But the irony was that some people who were at the forefront of the Enlightenment were enamored of the religious experiments that occurred during the Renaissance. But regardless, their experiments had their rationalist philosophy removed occultism forever from respectable courts and universities. And just now, it's all coming back. It's a very precious time and moment because also in the physics department, all across the country and universities, there is a generation that was educated in the 60s and 70s that is attaining positions of leadership now and is able to have some influence over funding. Some of these physicists educated in the 60s and 70s are more open to the question of quantum physics than the previous generation. That this is what's happening. This is why everything is opening up. The previous generation felt that physics was not concerned with meaning. Yes, you can observe extraordinary things in a particle accelerator, but leave it to the metaphysicians, leave it to the philosophers to discuss the meanings. That doesn't belong in the lab, and that's changing. The younger generation of physicists, classically trained, rigorously rational folks respond to that and says, well, but what is physics for if not to explain the nature of reality? So we've got exciting things coming, like this, for instance. Do quantum universes really exist? In some interpretation of quantum mechanics, such as the many worlds interpretation or pilot wave theory, parallel universes may form every time a subatomic particle goes through any interaction. I have talked about this. If you're familiar with Daryl Atkins, the one who channels Bashir, he talks about this. How every thought you have creates a new reality. Every time I make a choice, I create a new reality. Every time you make a choice, you create a new reality. I talk about this in my book. About this is often associated with the observer effect. Every time I observe, I make a choice. I recognize. I collapse into a new reality with that choice. And the old one falls away. It turns out that at least some physics theories do allow for the existence of parallel universes, at least on the quantum level. In several interpretations of quantum mechanics, like the many worlds interpretation and the pilot wave theory, the universe can be described by a single giant equation known as a quantum wave function. Anytime a quantum or subatomic process occurs anywhere in the universe, the wave function splits in two, meaning parallel universes are constantly created. But these interpretations have never been shown to be correct, and they have some major weaknesses that prevent them from being widely accepted. Humans experience consciousness as seamless, and it takes time for the brain to integrate all sensory inputs into a conscious experience of the world. But if we're constantly splitting and fragmenting, how can we maintain a consistent history of our own identity? Some don't. I think that's the whole point. Our identity is fluid. It's supposed to be fluid. Our experiences change who we are. Our choices change who we are. And that is why I have always felt that people should be allowed to change, and we should recognize change in people. These questions are areas of active research, so it's not clear if the quantum multiverse truly exists or not. Interesting. Interesting. So I'll have all those links down below for you to look up for yourself if you want to read more about them. So much, people don't realize how blessed they are, how lucky they are. They want to live in want. They want to live in combat. They want to, conflict. I don't know why you would choose that. Meanwhile, people are getting killed for being healers. People are being killed for being healers. Just like it's 1492. Okay? And it's 2023. It hasn't changed. So you need to be thankful that you're over here in the United States and free to practice, or maybe you're in the UK and free to practice. If you are sitting there making videos publicly, practicing your path, not worried about people busting into your front door and beating you to death, then you need to shut the fuck up and love your sisters and love your brothers who are also very lucky to be over here practicing what they practice. Anyway, I'm going to leave you. That's all I have for MetaPhy this week. I hope you have a great week coming up. And don't forget, I have all that I need and I want for nothing. I have all that I need and I want for nothing. You go kick some ass today. Love ya.